All right, so today we're tackling a pretty big one, right? Like,
Yeah.
what happens after we discover aliens? You sent over a whole bunch of articles about this.
Yeah, it's fascinating stuff.
Yeah, it is. It is. I mean, not just like that initial like "whoa, aliens" moment,
Right.
but the real nitty gritty fallout,
Hmm.
like the stuff that probably keeps world leaders up at night.
Yeah. I mean, it really does go way beyond the usual sci-fi stuff, you
Yeah.
know? We could be talking about like global economic shock, mass social unrest,
Mm-hmm.
maybe even like a whole power struggle over who actually gets to speak for Earth.
Like a kind of War of the Worlds, but like in a boardroom. One
Exactly.
article even pointed out that like just detecting an alien signal,
All right.
that alone could trigger a global power struggle.
Oh, absolutely.
Kind of like, the race to build the atomic bomb back in World War II.
Oh, yeah?
But this time it's all about who controls the narrative of like first contact.
Yeah, and that brings us to like a really crucial point, I think.
Oh.
Humanity is shockingly unprepared for something like this.
Seriously.
Yeah, there's this guy, Dr. John Elliott. He's a computational linguist, and he's been like sounding the alarm about this for a while now.
Yeah.
And he keeps using the COVID-19 pandemic as like a comparison.
Ooh, that's,
Remember how chaotic that was?
yeah, it was a mess. Like
Yeah.
everybody was scrambling, no clear plan,
Right.
misinformation just running rampant.
Exactly. And now just amplify that by like 1,000.
Yikes.
That's what we could be looking at.
Seriously.
It's not just about deciphering a message, it's about managing like the global reaction to it,
Yeah.
preventing mass panic, and figuring out who even gets to respond in the first place.
So is there like a global alien contact handbook or something?
Not quite a handbook, but
Yeah.
there are people working on it.
Okay.
Elliot and his team are setting up this thing called the SETI Post-Detection Hub at St. Andrews University.
Interesting.
And their whole goal is to establish like clear protocols and strategies for dealing with the fallout from contact.
Mm.
Everything from like scientifically verifying a signal to, actually communicating with the public.
Makes sense. But think about it for a second.
Yeah.
With over 5,000 exoplanets that we know of,
Yeah.
and telescopes getting more powerful all the time,
Right.
finding extraterrestrial life seems more like a question of when, not if, at this point.
I agree with that.
And you mentioned those SETI protocols earlier.
Uh-huh.
They seem to focus mostly on just confirming and announcing an alien signal, right?
Pretty much. Yeah.
Like, hey, everybody, we found aliens.
Right.
But then what?
Yeah. That is the million-dollar question, isn't it?
Yeah.
The current guidelines cover the initial steps, like inform the public, inform the UN, try to get some global scientific collaboration going. But there's a huge gap when it comes to the what next.
I really
Deciphering messages, figuring out how to respond,
Yeah.
dealing with all the social and political fallout. That's a whole other can of worms.
Yeah. And that's where things could get really interesting, right?
Absolutely.
And potentially very scary.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, just imagine the ripple effects,
Yeah.
social unrest, religious upheaval, political maneuvering.
Yeah.
The media would go crazy,
Huh.
just feeding all this misinformation.
That would be a recipe for chaos.
Seriously.
It's not even just hypothetical. History is full of examples of like mass hysteria and social contagions.
Really?
Think about the dancing plague.
What's
This thing that happened in Strasbourg where hundreds of people just started dancing uncontrollably for days.
No way.
Some historians think it was like a mass psychogenic illness
Whoa.
triggered by stress and social upheaval. So now imagine the kind of stress that alien contact could unleash.
Right. And on top of all that, you have to think about the power dynamics.
Of course.
Governments are going to want to control the narrative.
Absolutely.
I wouldn't be surprised if they try to like spin things to their advantage.
Yeah.
Maybe even suppress information or spread disinformation.
It's very possible.
just to maintain control.
Yeah, transparency and international cooperation would be ideal, of course. Sure.
But actually achieving that with a discovery this big,
Yeah,
it's a tall order.
I can imagine.
And then there's like the even bigger question.
Oh.
Should we even respond to an alien message?
Whoa, hold on a sec.
Ah.
We're already talking about responding.
Woohoo.
I'm still trying to wrap my head around the fact that they might even exist.
I know it's a lot to take in.
Yeah,
But think about it. If we're receiving a message, that means they're already aware of us.
that's true.
So the question of whether or not to respond kind of becomes unavoidable.
Okay, yeah, I guess so.
And there are some very real concerns about what that contact could mean for humanity.
Like what?
Well, you've got people like Stephen Hawking and Michio Kaku,
Hmm.
brilliant minds, both of them warning about the potential dangers.
Okay.
They compared first contact to Columbus arriving in the Americas,
Oh, wow.
a total disaster for the less technologically advanced civilization.
It's a chilling thought, but I get it.
Yeah.
And it raised so many more questions like, who gets to decide what message we send?
What if they don't like what they hear?
Exactly.
It's
These
true.
are exactly the kinds of issues that need to be discussed way before we're actually in this situation.
Yeah,
The stakes are incredibly high,
definitely.
and we are nowhere near ready.
Okay.
Nowhere near ready.
All right. Okay, so we've established that we are not ready for aliens.
Not even close.
Not even close.
Yeah.
And that the consequences could be,
Yeah.
pretty huge.
Huge.
But let's shift gears for a minute and talk about something a little more concrete.
Okay.
The global economy.
Right.
How would the financial world react to, news of extraterrestrial life?
Oh, man.
I mean, markets freak out over a tweet these days.
I know, right?
Imagine what this would do.
Oh, it would be like a tidal wave hitting Wall Street.
Really?
The uncertainty alone would send shockwaves through every sector.
Gee.
Some industries would boom, of course, but others could collapse practically overnight.
Okay, so give me an example. Like, what gets hit hardest?
Well, think about energy. Fossil fuels are already kind of on shaky ground.
Yeah, with the rise of renewables and everything.
Exactly. But if aliens show up with, like, super advanced energy tech,
Oh,
the bottom could just drop out entirely.
seriously?
Oil, gas, coal, all suddenly worthless.
Wow. And on the flip side,
Yeah.
renewable energy companies would probably see their stock prices skyrocket.
Oh, absolutely. They'd be laughing all the way to the bank.
So basically, the entire global economic landscape would be reshaped,
Pretty much. Yeah.
almost overnight.
And not necessarily in a predictable way either.
Right. It's not like we have a roadmap for this kind of thing.
Exactly. There would be winners and losers, for sure. And the ripple effects would be felt everywhere.
Hmm.
From, like, currencies to commodities to just basic consumer behavior.
It'd be crazy.
Oh, yeah. And don't forget about the potential for, like, serious economic instability.
Oh, right.
Panic selling, currency fluctuations, maybe even a global recession.
That's a lot.
And it's not even just about the economic factors, you know?
It's not.
It's about, like, a fundamental shift in our understanding of reality.
Whoa.
Imagine realizing that everything we thought we knew about technology, about resources, even like the limits of what's possible is suddenly wrong.
It's kind of like someone just pulled the rug out from under our entire civilization.
Pretty much.
Okay, so we've got social unrest, political maneuvering, potential government cover-ups, and now a global economic earthquake.
It's a lot, I know.
Starting to feel like we're doomed.
Well, I wouldn't say doomed, but
Absolutely.
amidst all the potential chaos and disruption, there's also the potential for incredible positive change.
Okay, I'm listening. Tell me something optimistic.
Okay, so imagine this alien contact forces us to confront our own limitations.
Okay.
We stop squabbling over resources and start focusing on sustainability and collaboration. They share knowledge technology, maybe even help us address issues like climate change.
It's a nice thought, but realistically, wouldn't those very technologies just be weaponized?
That's a valid concern.
I mean, humans have a pretty terrible track record when it comes to that kind of thing.
True, but that's why preparation is so crucial.
So what can we do? How do we even begin to prepare for something so unpredictable?
Well, one thing's for sure, we need to foster a much greater sense of global unity and cooperation.
Okay.
If we can't even agree on how to solve our own problems here on Earth,
Right.
how can we hope to present a united front to an alien civilization?
Yeah. Good luck getting all the world leaders to agree on anything.
It's a challenge, no doubt, but it's also an opportunity.
How so?
Imagine alien contact as the catalyst for finally overcoming those divisions.
Okay. I can see that.
We also need to prioritize scientific research and education,
Like in what areas?
specifically fields like astrobiology, linguistics, and interstellar communication.
Right. So we can actually understand them.
Exactly. We need to be ready to understand and interact with this new intelligence.
And develop some serious protocols for dealing with alien contact.
Oh, absolutely.
Like a real plan, not just a hope for the best kind of strategy.
Right. We need to think through every scenario.
Like what?
Radio signals, spacecraft landing, even the possibility of hostile intentions.
Okay.
We have to approach this with a combination of curiosity, caution, and a willingness to adapt.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground in this deep dive.
We have.
From like potential economic meltdown
Yeah.
to social unrest And even like the, psychological impact of realizing we're not alone.
Right.
It's a lot to process.
It really is, and I think we've barely scratched the surface.
Yeah.
But amidst all this potential chaos and uncertainty, there's this fundamental question that I keep coming back to.
Oh, what's that?
If these hypothetical aliens are advanced enough to reach Earth,
right?
And let's be real, interstellar travel is no joke.
It's not.
Wouldn't they also be advanced enough to have, wiped us out long ago?
I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
It's like that saying, right? If they wanted to conquer us, they already would have.
Exactly. So then it begs the question, why hold up.
Yeah, why haven't they made themselves known?
Right. Or if they have, and some people really believe they already have, why all the secrecy?
Yeah, what's the end game here?
Right.
Okay, so let's play devil's advocate for a minute.
Okay.
If we assume, just for argument's sake, that some kind of alien contact has already happened.
Okay.
And that it's being kept under wraps.
Right.
Who benefits from that?
That's the question, isn't it?
And why?
Well, I think the most obvious answer is those in power.
Okay.
Governments, intelligence agencies, maybe even some powerful corporations,
Mm-hmm.
they all have a reason to want to maintain control.
Right, because knowledge is power.
Exactly. And the knowledge of alien existence of their technology,
Yeah.
that's power on a whole other level.
So they keep it a secret to protect their own interests.
I think so.
To protect their own authority.
It's about maintaining the status quo, even if it's built on a lie.
Yeah, it's a cynical view.
It is.
But unfortunately, history's full of examples of, people in power putting their own needs above everyone else's.
Absolutely. Look at how governments have handled everything from pandemics to climate change.
Yeah, not exactly a stellar track record.
Not at all. An alien contact, if it's already happened, would be the ultimate secret to keep.
Because.
Imagine the chaos if the truth came out.
Yeah.
Social unrest, the religious upheaval, the complete loss of faith in institutions.
Governments would crumble.
Yeah, the entire world order would be upended.
It's almost easier to believe they're hiding aliens than to believe they could actually handle it.
Maybe there's some truth to that.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. Even if their motives are selfish,
okay,
the implications are still huge.
How so?
If they're hiding something, it means they think it's too dangerous for us to know.
Wow.
They think we can't handle the truth.
That's a pretty bleak assessment of humanity.
It is, but it also shows how important it is to think critically.
Okay.
To question authority, to demand transparency.
Right.
Because if we're not vigilant, if we don't demand answers, those in power will keep making decisions for us based on their own agenda.
Not what's best for everybody.
Exactly.
So what should our listeners be thinking about?
I think it all comes back to preparedness.
Okay.
Not just for aliens, but for all the challenges that we're already facing.
Oh,
climate change, social inequality, the rise of artificial intelligence.
Right.
The 21st century is going to be a wild ride.
Yeah, no kidding.
We need to be ready for anything.
And that means?
Being informed, being engaged, and being willing to challenge the status quo.
Okay, I like that.
Yeah, it means recognizing that we have a responsibility, not just to ourselves,
Sure.
to each other, to the planet, and maybe even to the future of humanity.
Well said. On that note, I think it's time to wrap this deep dive.
Yeah.
It's been quite a journey.
It has.
From, the potential wonders of alien contact to the very real dangers of, human deception and manipulation.
Yeah, it's a lot to think about.
It's been a pleasure exploring these complex issues with you.
Likewise.
And who knows? Maybe someday we'll have some real answers
I hope so.
to the questions we've raised.
We too.
But until then,
yeah,
keep looking up at the stars.
Absolutely.
Keep asking those big questions and, keep your minds open of all the possibilities out there.
That's what it's all about.
It is. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.
Thanks for having me.
See you next time.
See you then.